What's up, guys? Chuku Travels, and welcome to my channel. This is my second video. Hopefully you like the content. If you do, feel free to like and subscribe. So this video is going to be about my experience in Mexico. So for those of you who do not know, went to Mexico in 2017. I was working my ass off, and I was saving some money, and I decided that I wanted to leave. Many reasons, which I will notate later, but I want to stay on topic here. So yeah, what is it like being in Mexico? Now, I'm making this video primarily because going to Mexico City for me was a very positive, life-changing experience, right? Like, you hear all the guys on YouTube now talking about Colombia and Southeast Asia and all these different countries. And don't get me wrong, those places are great too. Like, you know, at some point I do plan to go to Colombia and Southeast Asia and Europe and all these other countries. But one that a lot of guys miss is actually, at least guys from in the U.S. A country that a lot of guys in the U.S. miss is actually right your freaking neighbor, right? It's right next door. You know what I mean? And I can just tell you, as a brother, as a black guy in Mexico City, I mean, you know, it's in your favor to go there. Is all I can say. It's definitely in your favor to go there. I mean, the women there, are very sensual. I'll say they're very passionate, very fiery. And they seem to have just a natural predisposition towards black guys, right? Not it, not once did I ever feel like me being black was like a disadvantage or like something that worked against me. Coming from the States, I'm from Texas, right? And I got all assortments of color in my family, right? But just being in Texas and certain parts of the U.S., I'm sure some of you guys listening to this, you can just kind of tell when certain people are looking at you a certain way or feeling some kind of way about you just because of who you are. And in Mexico, yes, people will stare at you, right? But it never felt like it was like in a demeaning way or a down way. If anything, like in most countries, as a foreigner or a black person, even a white person, in which you're not the commonality in that country, people will stare at you, right? People will stare at you and they're curious. And if it's a woman checking you out, maybe she's interested in you, and you should open her and talk to her. And hell, even the guys. I mean, and the thing is, in Mexico, like, the culture there in Mexico is very open, right? So you may see a guy looking at you and you're thinking, okay, is he trying to, is he got something against me, or is he trying to check me out, or you know what I mean? And I mean, low key checking you out. So, but really, it's just a curiosity thing. So, definitely good points there. Also, the food is amazing, right? The food is really good in Mexico. I mean, like I said, I'm from Texas, so we're used to Tex-Mex, but Tex-Mex is not the same as authentic Mexican food, right? Like, it's not the same by far, bar none. The biggest thing that really determines, if, really, the thing that really makes it is the salsas, right? And the seafood is really good, like the fish, Baja tacos, and the chilaquiles. Oh my God, chilaquiles is my fave. Chilaquiles is so freaking amazing. Oh God, that's my favorites for sure. Gringas, which is like the equivalent of a quesadilla here, is called a gringa there. Quesadillas there are actually like a taco with just meat. There's actually no cheese in it. A quesadilla is actually the meat and the cheese. So many different forms of food. I mean, different forms of beef. I mean, here in the States, you've got beef, chicken, chorizo, really that's the main three. Steak, chicken fajita. There you've got, suadero, you've got, fuck, I forget them now. God damn it. Yeah, I forget the different meats there. But they have different quality of beef and stuff there. And they have different qualities of pork, and chorizo's big, and, yeah, I mean, that's really big. Carne asada, stuff like that. So, I definitely recommend it as a first country for someone to go to. I mean, I even had a friend come out there and visit me, and he had a really good time. At the time, he wasn't really feeling the best. He was having some issues with his legs, so he didn't get to go out like he wanted to. But he definitely had a good time, and Another thing too I'll mention is, like I say, I'm from Texas and I've been to California and other parts, and I know some people have maybe a negative opinion of Hispanic people or Mexican people, because they see how some of them act when they come over to the U.S. But, and that's really in anything. I mean, hey, I'm from America. I have my passport now. I'm an international guy, and I'm not saying anything bad or negative about America. America is what it is, and I'm sure you guys can watch plenty of those other videos on other channels to hear that stuff. We all know what it is, right? And we're not going to get into a political conversation about the president and all that shit. I'm just not going to go there. But most people, foreigners who come to America, they get hypnotized under the American spell, as I like to call it. They get hypnotized by the beast, and they begin to start to feel some kind of way about themselves. But the thing is, when you actually go to their country as a foreigner, it's completely different. I mean, it's damn near night and day. It literally is night and day. Like, the people there, the thing about Mexico that makes it such a great place, and this Latin America, my experience in Latin America as a whole, is just the warmth of the people, right? I mean, yes, Colombia has beautiful women. Yes, Mexico City has beautiful people. I mean, beautiful women. But the people, the the non-judgmental care that people seem to have for people. I mean, I down the line, I may share some experiences, some personal experiences of things that happened to me, which, I mean, people treated you like family and they didn't even know you. You know what I mean? Like, people really took you in and took care of you and watched out for you, just because of where they've been and the kind of people they are. So, nothing but good things to say about Mexico City. If you're a brother, you should definitely check it out. It's definitely, as I say, and it's not just an anomaly. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's because, hey, I am who I am. But no, it's just like all the black guys I've met in Mexico, they all seem to have similar experiences. My buddy Mikey, Mikey Mike, he came down there, in a relationship, and him and his girl ended up breaking up, and he was on fire for a minute. Another brother I met out there, Dan the Man. I like to call him the Tinder King, right? He always kept some girls, in the pipeline on Tinder. For me initially, my Tinder profile wasn't optimized. When I first got down there, I eventually met a girl on Tinder, and yeah, her pictures were a little deceptive, and then the second girl I met on Tinder, got a little bit better. She was a model, plus size. You know what I mean? I'm not bragging about it, but she had some jelly, you know what I mean? And then the third girl I met on Tinder, I ended up dating her for a while. She was a crazy chick, unfortunately. She was certified crazy, but, it was good for a while. But the majority of the girls I actually met, and I'm not really a big online guy. This was, again, 2017. I wasn't really big into it. I just kind of put up some crappy pictures. But my homie, as I mentioned, Dan the Man, helped optimize my profile. And he had a sister, or one of his homegirls, critique my photos. In other words, you're being vetted by other women, gentlemen, and then you put that on Tinder. And then as a result, of course, your results go up. Women know what other women like. So, something to keep in mind. But, yeah, the majority of women that I did meet, I know everyone wants to know, what are the girls like? What are the women like? The majority of the girls I did meet, I met them throughout the day, throughout the day, throughout the night. Women are pretty approachable. They're pretty friendly. There were some times, when I would just see an attractive girl and I just walk up and talk to her, right? And, those odds, I guess people will call that cold approaching. I just, I don't really put a label on it. I just see it, and I want to see what it's about, or see what she's about. And, then some girls would give you the eyes and the warm invitation, the warm approach invitation, as they like to say. She's checking you out. We're throwing you choosing signals. And then you walk up and talk to her, and a lot of girls were lays on, a lot of girls that I spent some intimate time with, they came from that, Maybe I was at a party or out at a club, maybe sometime during the day, and then maybe either we got together later that day or a couple days later, but all in all, it was good, you know. And really, the biggest thing that it showed me, guys, was, and see, when I was in the States, I mean, you know, you hear all these guys talking about, oh, well, American women are this, American women are this, that. No, I'm not gonna be a woman hater. I'm not. This channel isn't about bashing women, right? I mean, you can go join the fucking MGTOW channel and listen to them dudes who, you know, salty about women and female nature. I mean, you know, you should know how female nature is at this point. If you don't, check out my man Alpha Male Strategist. You know what I'm saying? He can put you on some game. You know what I mean? He can definitely put you on some game. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? I'm not here for that. You know, uh, if you're not getting the kind of results you want in the States, I'm not saying that you necessarily will get those results similar to mine or some of my friends if you go to Mexico and you're a brother. But, you know, if you're a brother and you've got some degree of game and some degree of style and, you know, you got your stuff together enough, whether you're on vacation or you want to relocate, you know, your odds are higher there just because the women take more of an affinity towards you. They don't have the same cultural and racial baggage that the United States have. So, and that's something that I'm finding to be true even in other countries as well. Just, you know, with my Tinder Gold subscription, you know, just you know, people say, oh, you know, I'm not gonna pay for it. Well, hell, you know, right now I'm in the States, you know, and I'm getting some matches, but it's not the same kind of quality, right? Same pictures, same everything, but the quality's different. And quite honestly, I don't really care. I'm not really here to date American chicks. I'm back in the States temporarily to get some stuff together so I can get my ass in the next country, right? So that's what it's about, you know. But you know, for you guys who haven't, obviously get your passport. You know, get your things together, and yeah, I mean, you know, it's a good country. It's a good place to get your feet wet for an international journey. You know, it was my first country. It'll be one of many to come, but it was good. You know, it really showed me that, and like, you know, I didn't really have any issues with women in the States. It's just all the bullshit that comes with it. You know what I mean? I would be dating a girl for a while or this and that, but it's all the other shit that came with it. And eventually I just got tired of the dating scene in America, you know? I got tired of the dating scene. I was just working, focusing on my money, school, church at the time, being a good boy, and then hell, a couple of days into Mexico, I'm already, and it just a snowball effect, and that just happened week after week after week, you know. But it was good. It was a good time, you know, and I miss it. But beyond that, I mean, even beyond the women, the guys I met, the social circles I built with people. I remember fucking being in Mexico when Mexico beat Germany, and just the love and the energy of the city, right? It reminded me of when I was in Texas Tech, you know, and we beat Texas. This was years ago. But I say all this to say, this is not to, it's just to hopefully show you a different side of Mexico. You know, I really should have been making these videos, guys, when I was in Mexico, and I could have showed this footage, but in between losing my phone or breaking my phone or not having a phone, and, you know, what the shit that would happen, you know, it really was being selfish, you know. I mean, you know, I should have been sharing this, but I'm sharing it now, right? I'm sharing it now, and, you know, the people I met in Mexico City and the beautiful experiences I had in Mexico City, I think that the country deserves to have some different light shed on it. Not all Mexicans are trying to come over to America and take our jobs and climb the fucking wall and all the other crazy shit and the madness that's going on in the mainstream media. You know, people deserve to know that, honestly, there are many well-to-do people in Mexico. Mexico City is an international city. You know, you got the Chinese in Mexico City, you got Japanese, you got all, you know, you got French people in Mexico City. I mean, it's you got such a variety of people living in different parts of the city. You wouldn't even think it's Mexico. It's like the U.S.'s little cousin, right? You know, Mexico City, you know, is an international city. When you walk down the Reforma, that's like the business district of the country. You know, I mean, you see skyscrapers that rival, you know, L.A. and New York, Chicago. You know, big U.S. cities. Hell, I was in this one skyscraper, and this is some place I recommend. It's called, what was it called? St. Regis Tower. My friend friend, gal I met from New York, told me about this place. You go up, I think, 60 floors. You go there on the weekend. I went there on a Sunday. You go up like 60, 70 something floors, and they have a buffet. It's like 10, 15 bucks, right? And an extremely big, beautiful view of the entire city of Mexico City. I mean, this is right here in the smack dab of Reforma. This is this is an international city. So when people think, oh, it's Mexico, it's this, it's that, it's a living, breathing, running country, right? Like, it's an international country. There are people making great money. There are people who've got nice cars. People aren't living out in huts, right? They're not living out in the fucking woods or the forest somewhere. Maybe there are people in some parts of the country who are doing that, but I'm saying in Mexico City they aren't. You see nice cars. You see Mercedes. I've seen a couple of exotic cars out there. I mean, people out there have got money, and they're not just the depiction that you see on the news and these other outlets. That's an agenda. Right? That's an agenda, because I actually talked to people in Mexico City, and they're like, dude, we don't give a fuck about the wall. Like, that's your problem. And quite honestly, it is. Quite honestly, it is. I mean, the people who are going to break the law to do the things they want to do are going to do that anyway. But again, this isn't a political channel, so on that note, I leave it as it is. Anyway, guys, this is just again, I'm going at 17 minutes here. Just wanted to give you guys a little breakdown of Mexico City. I will be uploading more specific videos. This was kind of just a general overview, right? I'll be, going into more details of what areas to stay in, more areas, more of a breakdown of maybe give you guys some more specific details from the girls I was with, some of the specific social situations I was in, some of the cool things I did, because there were some pretty cool things I did there. So yeah, if you're a foreigner, and I've only been a black guy my entire life, so I can say this from a black perspective. You stand out in a good way being there, right? You stand out in a good way being there. People will radiate and gravitate towards you just because you're a black person, and maybe you're different, and maybe they look at you a certain way, and take it in stride. Take it in stride. Yes. Sometimes the women, I know guys who are in Colombia know this, and other guys who, the women can be flaky. Of course, that's just Latino, that's just women in period. But who cares, right? Just make sure you have other options lined up. Eventually you get immune to that shit, right? But yeah, definitely, more stuff to come. I'll be sharing some more content, some more specific situations, and yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. And I will see you guys in the next video.